People are already ice fishing, crawler cutters are a real thing, and Barney done did it again. We got that and more coming up right now in Target Walleye's Top 5 presented by Seafoam. Let's dive on in. While you were busy mowing your lawn, the fishing geeks were already kicking off their hard water season, getting in on some wild brook trout action up in Alberta, Canada. Ice season is here, baby! I believe they were fishing with their buddy Barry Butler, who also got in on the fun. He was fishing with a Frostbite mini slayer rigged on a 16th ounce head spinner propeller jig. That thing is just purty, man. Can you believe it's already here? Those guys have been ice fishing for a couple weeks already, and it's not like they're up in Alaska or up where polar bears live, but it's coming south of the border soon. I love this kind of awkward in-between time of year where ice fishermen pretty much become meteorologists. They're pacing the shoreline, they're checking weather forecasts, watching temps, wind directions. It's coming. Everybody please be safe this season. Oh wait, and speaking of mowing the lawn, I think Caleb Holman might be onto something with this ice rig, especially with how quickly the seasons change. It's time for our Freak of the Week, and no offense to Kris Gaune, I'm actually talking about that derpy walleye he caught while pre-fishing for the Vanity Cup on Tobin Lake. That thing needs a chiropractor stat. She hit the scales at over 8 pounds despite being less than 26 inches long. By the way, if you slide up to the top of that ruler picture, we got a little bit of tomfoolery going on. Now, I don't know what he's trying to pull off with that giant sucker nose hooked on the deck. Either that was a crazy interesting double or he's trying to throw the ops off on how he's actually catching them. But if that's the case, then he should have cropped out the frozen shiners and the night crawlers in the corner of this picture.
Oh, I'm onto your little game, mister.
And speaking of night crawlers, that brings us to number 3. If you follow the walleye tournament scene or just walleye fishing in general, you know that the biggest trend has been the resurgence of jigs and crawlers. Of course, jigging a crawler has caught walleyes forever, but I'm talking about folks using the lightest jig that they can get away with and picking their targets on forward-facing sonar and floating a little pinched-off nightcrawler and jig right down in front of their snoot. Now that specific technique, sharpshooting those walleyes with a little bitty crawler and jig, has won a ton of money in the walleye world these last few seasons. I would say probably millions of dollars over these last few years. But folks were really reluctant to talk about it up until these last few months, because they wanted to be the only one doing it out of the 100 boat fields.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
But now that the secret is out and they're actually talking about it, we are finding out just how crazy these folks are getting about it, to the point where they are literally growing out their thumbnail and calling them crawler cutters or crawler pinchers, and they literally leave it longer for pinching off the tails of crawlers. I am not making this up. But I mean, if you're going to commit to this whole crawler cutter thing, then you need to 110% commit. I want colors. I want designs. I want them to look so fishy that a fish might actually take a bite out of them. And no trimming them off at the end of the summer. You got to leave that puppy engaged, because ice fishing, you need a minnow cutter, a fathead pincher, or whatever you want to call it for your jigging spoons.
Your nails are fierce.
I don't even know what to say. You do you. I'm going to move on to number 4. Got some more hard proof the catch and release works with another really cool catch and catch again story. This time it's coming from Zion Gal. He was fishing offshore on the North Saskatchewan River. Obviously it was Halloween night based on his attire when he caught this 31-incher that weighed 11 pounds, 11 ounces. Even cooler, I mean, I don't know how you get cooler than Barney catching an almost 12-pound walleye offshore, but even cooler is that once he got it in the net, he recognized the fish, and he realized it looked so familiar because it was the same walleye as personal best that he had caught earlier that fall, which he confirmed by comparing some fin irregularities. And it weighed 2 ounces more this time, so I guess technically he caught his new personal best again. And it just goes to show you that catch and release with proper fish handling truly does work, and I cannot wait to see how big it is the next time that he catches that thing. Have you ever seen a walleye built like this one before? It was recently caught by Chase and Walter. You hear folks all the time say that saying, that fish had shoulders. Well, this thing takes it to a whole nother level, and I can't figure out who it reminds me more of, Quasimodo or Brock Lesnar. And now, Brock, I mean that in the nicest way possible, so please don't hurt me.
Wait a minute! With Mysterio! No! 5 center!
That wraps up this week's Top 5, and a big shout out to Seafoam for keeping us running smooth and making this fun video series possible. If you want more walleye and ice fishing content like this, sign up for our free Target Walleye emails at targetwalleye.com, and I'll see you back in 7.